Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Working Trader, where we look at the Euro USD, GBP USD currency pairs and come up with daily trade analysis and hopefully trade ideas that we can execute on the day. So, without wasting much time, let's jump into Forex Factory. So today, Thursday, we have GDP. High impact news for the pound, and then later on in the afternoon we have unemployment claims for the USD. So yesterday we had PPI and core retail data that came out. We didn't have much volatility. I don't expect much as well today because CPI was the main high impact news event on Tuesday. So let's jump onto the charts and do a recap of yesterday, what we're expecting and what happened. So starting with the Euro USD. We were saying we have this POI that is still holding. It has been mitigated once and then twice, which is almost like it's been used up now. But still, it hasn't failed. So price has been reacting bullish, and we're saying that if price is to continue bullish, we expect it to turn from here and continue that bullish trend up until it takes out this week daily swing high. So yesterday I was saying I am more bullish than bearish, even though it's counter trend because everything is pointing down. Okay. So on the 4 hour, price mitigated this POI and then had a bit of a reaction, but not a big one. As you can see, prices started to trickle down again. Okay. And then on the 1 hour, we had this POI mitigation. I was saying I was in a long trade. So obviously, at this point, it doesn't look like it's gonna continue. Okay, it might, but remember this is a heavily counter trend move, and the 2R is quite a big 13, 14. So it just fell short of reaching 2R. Okay, so this way it ended, and then this is 2R. So at this point, because it has already come back to the entry, you might be better off just closing off the trade. Or if you had managed the trade, once it got to, around these areas, push up your stop loss to break even or somewhere up there, then you would have been taken out. Okay. For a somewhat a minor profit. Okay, but definitely not at a loss. Okay, definitely not at a loss. So that's for the euro dollar. That's what we're expecting, and that's what has transpired. So for the pound, it was the same idea. It was the same idea. We are the pound on the swing trend on the daily is bearish. Internal has been bullish. Okay, until this point where we could say this is a sweep of liquidity, or this is another sweep of liquidity to mitigate this POI to then push up. But then when it pushed up, it then mitigated this newly formed supply and has been reacting from that supply. Okay, so price pretty much is in the middle of the range. Okay, it's in the middle of this and that. So when price was lower around these areas, I was saying I am expecting price to go up. So I was saying that I would be a bit more bullish, even though we are in a bearish trend. So we had this choke, okay, and then we have this extreme demand, and then this decisional demand, okay, that led to the break of structure right there. And price mitigated and gave a reaction, so which is what we were expecting. So as you can see on the 1 hour, this would have been the trade, let's see, say 12, say 13 pips, and then going for 2.2, and boom, right there we hit TP. Okay, so right there is where we hit TP. So that means we would have had one winner, and if you'd managed to trade yesterday, then you'd have one winner and a break even. Okay, if you're still in the trade, I would say you could just close it, since it's still on the Euro USD, since it's still hanging around the entry. Okay, you can close it so that doesn't hit a loss. Okay, but yeah, so we are 2 hour up. Okay, all right, then maybe if you look at lower time frame entries, maybe you'd have gotten more out of that. Okay, so those were the trade ideas for yesterday. So one played out, one didn't quite play out. Okay, so looking on to today, what should we look for? What should we expect? So I'll start with the Euro USD again. Okay, so I'm just gonna move this. Okay, so right now the expectation now is this POI could fail. Okay, so yes, daily internal is bullish, right? But we've had this we could call it fractal change of structure. Okay, so because we've had this daily choke, all right, it is to facilitate an internal pullback. So this is our internal swing range, our internal range, sorry. So this POI was not well priced because it's fine, it's at the EQ, but mostly the bulk of it was in premium. Okay, we had a reaction. Let me clean this up. We had a reaction, all right, but there was no follow through. Okay, and then we've been having bearish candles ever since, and then we've had a bullish engulfing and no follow through again. Okay, so it is more likely now, right now it's now more likely that this POI will fail. Okay, it is now more likely that this demand zone will fail. So expectation is this to fail, and then once it fails, of course, we still have other demand areas that are sitting below. Okay, that are sitting below. So at any point, it could just take this and then reverse. So we don't know. Okay. So on the daily, there's not much except we're expecting this POI or this daily demand to fail. Then looking at the 4 hour. Looking at the 4 hour, you could look at it this way. We are still in this demand area right there. It's just been mitigated at the top, so we can expect maybe deeper mitigation before price switches bullish. Okay, so it's still possible because the area has not yet failed. Okay, has not yet failed. But just trying to focus from the daily perspective, it looks like the daily POI will fail. Okay, from a 4-hour perspective, we have strong imbalance. Okay, and then look at the way price is coming back. Okay, it's quite slow and corrective. Okay, it's possible it could just keep on doing that until it takes out this weak low. Okay, so the other thing is this is a weak internal low. All right, so if it's a weak internal low, the expectation is that it's going to be run out. Okay, so as it stands on the 4-hour, not really clear, but we could expect price to continue going down as well, because this is the current immediate trend. If we're to start looking for bullish price action, we'll have to wait for price to react. Okay, and at this point take out that internal high. Okay, and take out that high for us to start looking for bullish price action. But as it stands, everything is pointing bearish. So looking at 1 hour, price has reached again this POI. So expectation, so 1 hour internal is bearish. We haven't had a break of structure again. Okay, so 1 hour internal is bearish. Okay, this was a 1 hour. This is the strong high. This was the weak low. So weak low is about to be taken. Oh, it has been taken. We just need a close in below to confirm. Okay. This was a POI that was created, but we couldn't take advantage of it because we were in this long trade. Because we're expecting deeper mitigation for us to hit TP. Okay, before maybe starting to look for those shots. All right, but also the zone is quite big. Okay, the zone is quite big, so yeah, you could maybe reduce it to somewhere there to make it smaller. Okay, but the zone is quite big, so we are sort of too low as well, too low to sell, because we are in this daily demand, and there's this 4-hour demand and 1 hour demand right below. Okay, so it was low probability to look for sales from there. On the lower time frames, maybe as you can see, we had a decent push down here, so depending on where you enter, you would get your 2R or 3R down there. Okay, so right now there's nothing. Okay, we are bearish, but we don't have any areas to look for shorts. Okay, so we just have to wait. So either we wait for this POI to be eliminated. Once it's eliminated, then there should be some new supply area formed where we can then look for shorts. Okay, there should be some new supply area formed once this POI fails, and then we can start looking for shorts, expecting maybe deeper mitigation of this area here, or at least for price to reach these areas. Okay, for price to reach those areas. So this could be the liquidity that's required. Okay, once these lows are run, this could be the liquidity required for price to come down, mitigate this, and then continue bullish from there. All right, so as it stands, though, everything is pointing down, but we don't have any area to get shorts from. So looking at the pound, this is what we have. Price is stuck between this supply and this demand. Okay, this demand is failing to push away, maybe take out supply. All right, we have a stay away candle. Yes, there's a bullish engulf that's happened right there. We've had kind of a reaction, but ultimately price looks to be dropping. Okay, so we can expect these lows to go. Okay, we can expect that low to be taken, and then maybe have a deeper mitigation of this demand area before we have another reaction to the upside. And then looking at the 4 hour, I'll be expecting this POI to fail now. Okay, this demand to fail, and then maybe we have a deeper mitigation towards somewhere around the EQ of this zone, and then maybe have some kind of reaction on lower time frames. However, our internal, so remember this is a weak internal low, so it is highly likely that that will be run over by price. Okay, so again, we are bearish, but we don't seem to have any setups available at the moment. So we do have, so on the 1 hour, okay, this zone is still holding, but it's more likely to fail. And then if you're going to look for longs, you could look for something down there. It should be a quick reaction. Let's see. So right there, that'll be, that's 10 pips and 2.2. Okay, so yeah, that should be a quick reaction. Should be doable. All right, so assuming or anticipating that this is liquidity that will be taken, okay, if that's liquidity that's taken, then we can assume that this POI might have a higher likelihood of holding. All right, given that our internal is bullish, okay, so we failed to break and close up here, so this is the weak high, and this is the strong internal low, okay, on the pound 1 hour. Okay, so if we could look, to get along from down there. So I guess for now on the pound is the only place where we can anticipate a trade, so we can look for longs right at the extreme. Okay, however, be mindful that on the 4 hour, this is a weak low. Okay, this is a weak low on the 4 hour, and will be counter the internal of the 4 hour. And at this point, by the time we get there, we'll have failure of supply of demand areas, so this will be more likely to fail as well. But if you want to take the trade, take the chance. For now, that would be the only place where I can see to take it long. Okay, so those are the well, that's the only trade idea for the day, really. Okay, that's the only trade idea for the day. That's the only trade idea for the day. So other than that, I think this is it for today. If you are liking this material, please hit a like, subscribe, and share a comment. Okay, share a comment. Let me know if you are taking trades with me from these trade ideas. So have a good day. Working Trader out.